Hey race fan, Brian Davis races, and you can too. Guess what this week is? Tour of America's Dairyland is starting this week. I am super excited. Now my series, the races I'm focused on, Masters 1, 2, 3, doesn't start till a little bit later in next week. So I have a few days to think about everything I need to have ready for race week. And I'm gonna race Sunday as like a warm-up race. Come join me, I'll be in the 2-3s category for that one. Other than that, I'll be racing Wednesday through Sunday in the Masters 1, 2, 3 category. I'll be doing race videos as quickly as I can and throw them up on YouTube, so be sure that you subscribe to the channel. It would really mean a lot, just in general, if you'd subscribe to the channel. These videos take a lot of time and effort, and so the only way I know that somebody cares about them is by subscribing and leaving a comment. So please do that. I really appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna talk about do's and don'ts for race prep. So I was talking with my coach, Zach, the other day, and going through kind of how training has been going this spring, what we're looking forward to with Toad, what our goals are. And Zach is a proponent of this theory of having two different sets of goals, which I really appreciate. And last year we did this too, and it really helps, and I'll tell you why. So we have process goals and we have outcome goals. And the process goals to me are the priority, because if you can execute on the process goals, the result goals or outcome goals will probably take care of themselves. The other nice thing about process goals are, regardless of where you finish in the race, you can still feel good that you executed these strategies the way that you intended to. And you have more control over that than you do have in an outcome of a race. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts. Do. Think about what you can be successful with other than winning or getting on a podium. This is the biggest one. I'm gonna maintain focus on positioning. So I really want to stay in the top 10 or 15 riders at all times. And then when we get to about 5 laps, I want to be in the top 10. And when we're into 3 laps, I want to be somewhere floating between 5 and 8. And we get into the last lap, I really want to be focused on being in the top 5. And if that includes me doing some pulling into the last lap or into the final sprint, and I don't get like the perfect lead out, that's fine. Because if I'm pulling hard with and I'm in the top 5, I'm still going to end up in the top 10 most likely. So I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. I don't want anyone to be passing me in the last lap. I only want to be gobbling up spaces. If someone is coming around me, that's a fail. Instantly I have to move up. So that's my trigger, is if people are passing me, that's going the wrong direction. I have to get out and get back up to the front. That's my goal for maintaining position in the top in the last few laps. It's very windy today. So do get your equipment checked out. I just got new tires put on. I'm gonna wax my chain. I still need to clean my bike, but it's all gonna be dialed in before I go racing. And that makes me feel good, right? I've got tons of miles on this setup, so I don't have an issue. I did change the stem, maybe regret doing that. I'm gonna charge everything under the sun. Everything's gonna be charged. All the batteries are gonna be charged, ready to go. All right, remember your training. You've put in a ton of work over the winter. You've done a bunch of other races. For me, I've done a bit more Zwifting this year, and I'm gonna focus on that. Like, when things are hard, they're hard for everybody, and that's perfect Zwift racing recollection, right? So in the last lap of a Zwift in Crit City, it is brutal. I push myself harder in those Zwift races than I ever have in a crit, and that's what I want to focus on. Like, am I pushing as hard as a Zwift race right now? In fact, I'm going to be doing a Zwift race in about an hour as prep to warm up. I'm going to do an A race in Crit City and use that as speed in the legs, take the day off tomorrow, race on Sunday, day off, and then Wednesday through Sunday I'll be racing. So I'm using Zwift a lot more this year as a training tool, Zwift racing specifically, and I think that's going to work out well. So do be intentional about focusing on a skill. So what that looks like for me this year is I'm gonna focus on floating through corners without smashing on the brakes, right? So typically I get nervous about being on the outside of corners because it's a little bit more dangerous than the outside. However, the trade-off is you can carry more speed, right? So a lot of times I'll find myself on the inside of every turn, and I'm having to burn matches to sprint out of those turns to keep the pace with the group. So this year I want to spend the first half of the race on the outside of all the turns. It's minimal risk in the first half of the race. In the last few laps, depending on how the field is looking or how big the field is, I might go inside, I might go outside. We'll just see where I end up. Pack and repack everything. So get everything set up. I'm gonna have a pre-race bag, I'm gonna have a race bag, and I'm gonna have a recovery bag. I'm gonna have all my equipment. I'm gonna be driving my car probably most days. I might get a place to stay down there. We'll see how that goes. So there you go. All right, now let's talk about the don'ts. Don't get frustrated if the first result in a towed race is not what you wanted. So Tour of America's Dairyland for the Masters Series is I think it's 5 races, right? So there's multiple days to choose from. I don't have to marry myself or I don't have to put all my self-worth into that whole, that first race, right? There's a lot of time to have a really good race and bounce back, and so don't get stressed out about it, right? This is a good one. Don't bang your knee into doorways like I have the last two days. Same knee, bang, bang. I would avoid that if at all possible. Don't get sick. And I am coughing and having a little bit of sickness. I tested this morning, no issue there. And I'm probably gonna test every day. It's not the end of the world. It would be unfortunate, so I'm doing everything I can to try to maintain my health. Don't forget, this is fun. None of us masters are turning pro. There's no reason to yell at people, to be mean to people, to be just don't be an right? And I typically don't have that problem when I race. Maybe other people have a different opinion, but I feel like I'm exceptionally mellow in races in terms of dealing with other people. Like somebody's like, oh, I need that line. Like, oh, go ahead, take the line. I don't care. Yeah, so maybe I cost myself some placings by not being as aggressive as maybe I could be, but I still have to live with myself and be a decent human, and I think that wins, right? So don't worry about it. It's fun. Remember, it's fun. Again, please smash the like button, leave a comment down below. What do you do to mentally get ready for race day? What kind of goals, process, outcome goals do you have for your big events? Are you going to join me at Tour of America's Dairyland? Come race, it's not too late. The registration numbers aren't insane, so I think there's only 30, 35, 40 people. That's fine, that's not like crazy crowded. We'll be fine. So come race with me. If you're anywhere near Wisconsin, hop on a plane, come on out, drive down, let's race bikes. All right, race fan, that's all I got for you today. I'm so excited to go race. Let's do this.